It's as close to time travel as we're gonna get. This Week in Music History with Marty Miller.
That'd be me. Hello there and welcome to the podcast. Thanks for bothering your arse. No, I mean that. I genuinely do. Thanks for bothering, because there's so much stuff. It's just nice to get the odd download or whatever. So a busy old week, this one, from 12th until the 16th of May. Lots to do as we jump around the decades. For example, this was the week in 1977 that Richard Branson signed the Sex Pistols.
And I went down to see them. Everybody was jumping up and down and going absolutely mad.
Oasis were on top of the world first time round in 1996.
Cigarettes and alcohol, yeah?
B.B. King was gone at age 89 this week.
He hardly knew a life without playing, so it's no surprise he was performing until the very end.
And the Stones were under siege in the mid-60s.
That's your worst experience?
No. It was pretty bad because we all got pulled down at one stage.
What is your worst?
Zipping through a week in a matter of minutes. This Week in Music History, the podcast.
Actually, we'll start in 1965 with the Rolling Stones, and we talked about this last week on the podcast because last week in music history was when the Stones, well, Mick and Keith, came up with Satisfaction. Now, this week, after living with it for a week, they went in and recorded it at RCA Hollywood. Keith had come up, as I say, with a guitar riff a week earlier. Here he is.
You wrote songs, and 5 days later, you recorded it. You barely know the thing. And then you take it on the road for 50 years. I'm starting to get the hang of it now.
This week in 1977, after being given the push by both EMI and A&M Records in less than 6 months, Virgin Records announced they had signed the Sex Pistols, and out that infamous album would come on the Virgin label. Here's Richard Branson.
I'd heard a lot of excitement about this new band called the Sex Pistols, and they were performing at the 100 Club in Oxford Street. And I went down to see them. Everybody was jumping up and down and going absolutely mad. I remember just sort of watching, thinking, I've never seen anything like this. And the energy in that room, I've never come across such energy.
This week in 1985, Bruce Springsteen got married to the actress Julianne Phillips. Now, of course, it wasn't to last. Julianne filed for divorce in August of 1988. But meanwhile, in 85...
35-year-old rock superstar Bruce Springsteen was married by candlelight early this morning. His bride, 25-year-old television actress Julianne Phillips. The wedding party gathered with family and friends at midnight for the quiet, private ceremony at a Catholic church in the suburbs of Portland, Oregon.
They wanted a church wedding along with all the goodies. She had a beautiful wedding gown and Bruce said his tux on.
This Week in Music History, a week in less than 10 minutes.
1996, Oasis became the fastest selling group in UK history after all 330,000 tickets for their summer shows sold out in 9 hours.
Cigarettes and alcohol, yeah?
When they announced last year they'd be doing stuff this year, they weren't long selling out either. To 1998, and George Michael was fined after being convicted of a lewd act in a Jack's in Beverly Hills. Now, this was outside the courtroom at the time.
Beverly Hills police officers arrested the singer, known as George Michaels. Mr. Michaels was arrested for a violation of 647A of the Penal Code, engaging in a lewd act. The arrest was made by members of the Crime Suppression Unit at Will Rogers Park. They did go into the restroom area of the park and did observe Mr. Michaels engaged in a lewd act. He was by himself.
2015, this week, the blues singer, songwriter and guitarist extraordinaire B.B. King died in his sleep. He was 89 years of age. He had a series of small strokes.
Every day I have the blues. Every day I have the blues. Yeah, you see me worried, baby.
That was the magical gift B.B. King shared with the world for more than 7 decades. Having purchased his first guitar at the age of 12, he hardly knew a life without playing. So it's no surprise he was performing until the very end. King spent most of his life on the road, routinely doing more than 200 gigs a year.
Zipping through a week in a matter of minutes. This Week in Music History, the podcast.
In 2003, this week, the country singer June Carter Cash, second wife of Johnny Cash, died in Nashville, Tennessee. Complications after surgery. She was 73 years of age. Now, Johnny wouldn't be long following her. Many said it was a broken heart. You can hear it in his voice.
She was my biggest critic, too. No. If she didn't like something that I did, she told me about it in a hot minute.
I imagine it must be to be married so long and then to lose someone. I imagine people would sometimes just want to stop and say, because spouses sometimes just follow each other. But you're still going and ready to go. Where do you get the energy, the strength?
She told me in the hospital, said, go to work. I said, what are you talking about? She said, don't worry about me. Go to work.
1965 in California, the limo taking the Rolling Stones back to their hotel was under siege by fans who were jumping up and down on the roof of it and standing on it. So then the roof of the car caved in. The band attempted to hold the roof up while the chauffeur drove away with people falling onto the road. When the Stones came back to Ireland, they were also mobbed, and this Irish reporter got the story.
That had your worst experience?
No. It was pretty bad because we all got pulled down at one stage.
What is your worst?
I think probably Long Beach, California crowd. There are about 5,000 people around the park.
Finally to 1966 we go, and the Beach Boys gave the world Pet Sounds. The album is now regarded as a Brian Wilson masterpiece. In Brian's own words,
what song of yours are you proudest of and why?
Well, I'm proudest of God Only Knows because it's a great melody and a great lyric. And Carl sang it beautifully, and I'm very proud of it.
And that is a look at This Week in Music History. We've just hammered through the week of May 12th until 16th. We'll do it all again next time.
Zipping through a week in a matter of minutes. This Week in Music History, the podcast.